This episode of iFanboy is brought to you by Squarespace, Netflix, and GoDaddy.
So, do we want to watch one about the Joker, or the Green Goblin, or Bullseye, or Lex Luthor? We got Absorbing Man. We got Magneto.
Hulk Poodle, Hulk Poodle, Hulk Poodle. Welcome to another edition of iFanboy, the comic book discussion show. I'm Ron, and as always, I'm here with
Connor.
And I'm Josh. You know, we spent a lot of time talking about superhero comics in superhero comics.
A lot of heroes.
Yeah, and we did a show on superheroes and things like that.
I need a hero.
And go ahead.
Sorry. That's all I know.
Till the morning. And he's gotta be fast, and he's gotta be strong, and he's gotta be
So what about heroes?
alive.
What is the flip side of heroes?
Okay. For every superhero, there's a villain. If not,
He's not
20 or 30. And so really, you know, a lot of what the superhero comics hinge on is the strength of the villains. And I think the villains have almost been lost a little bit going forward. They're not as important as they used to be. It used to be, you know, what was the new thing about every Spider-Man comic was the new villain in each comic.
Right. And quite often a lot of these heroes over the past 40 years have been defined by their villains.
Yep.
Yes, very much so.
Batman
The
and
Rogues
Joker.
Gallery.
As important as the heroes.
Yes.
Definitely. So I thought we'd take some time and talk about what makes a good villain. Some of the things that we like about that, you know, like what it is that makes that work, and then you know we'll talk about some of the really good villains, or possibly some of the really bad villains over time. So what do you think?
Well, it's funny that you mentioned it because a couple of months ago on iFanboy.com, I wrote a post that was about villains and looking at there kind of two types of villains. And this is the way I look at it. There's a villain who's purely evil, and there's a villain who's maybe misunderstood, or misguided, or just maybe a bad guy made a couple wrong decisions. Like, for example, you know, Dr. Doom, you know, a lot of people say he's Fantastic Four villain. He's a patriot. He's protecting his country. You know, maybe he's made some bad decisions while doing that. Red Skull, Nazi, evil. And the motivations between the two, world domination, revenge on Reed Richards, protection of my country, you know, they're different things. You know, look at the X-Men. Magneto, he's done some horrible, horrible things, but he sees it as he's a freedom fighter. He's protecting his race. You know, not wholly evil.
I think I see where
my allegiance lies.
Yeah, I think I get that.
Well, yeah, because this theory kind of only works in the Marvel universe. It kind of falls apart in the DC universe because DC villains just are batshit crazy sometimes.
Well, we're gonna get to that. So, I mean, what makes a good villain?
Just ignore what I just said.
We're gonna get to this.
Here's later on. I think a lot of it has to do with connection to the character. Yeah. I think really good villains have some sort of personal connection. Not always, but really good ones usually have some sort of personal connection to the character, or there's something in that character that is mirrored in the hero.
The antonym to that character.
So it's not just it's a bank robber again. It's more like there's something more that's a deeper connection.
Reverse Flash to the Flash. Or,
not literally, but like
no, but that's
even
a literal
between the Batman and the Joker. Yeah. But the Joker is a Batman turned to 12. You know, he's the real crazy guy. Right. You know, and there's something in there.
Spider-Man and the Goblin.
And Magneto and the X-Men even are.
If you look at, there's two ways that things work differently. When you take Batman and Joker, and I think that when you really think, Batman's got a lot of villains.
Right.
But his opposite is got to be the Joker. And it's such a, they're both crazy, sort of, and whereas Batman is the good guy, but he's the dark, Joker is light, but he's the evil guy, and so they force off each other like that. I mean, The Killing Joke's a book that really sort of gathered what that was about. Like he's like the on the surface, you know, who's really the bad guy? One's the clown, and one's the evil demon-looking thing. Yeah. So, whereas and so that they're not really connected to each other. They just ran across each other. Whereas you look at Spider-Man,
Green Goblin's his main arch.
Even though he hasn't been around in the main.
Now with them, it's
over the years.
With them, it's a whole other thing because there's a personal relationship going on.
Yeah.
That wasn't present for Batman Joker, for example, or Venom even sort of works in that way, which that's sort of another way to do it.
There's also sometimes jealousy aspect. I mean, you get the Lex Luthor Superman relationship, you know, the Dr. Doom Reed Richards relationship, where it's like the villain strives to be like the hero or to be on the same level of the hero and fails, and then therefore lashes out as opposed to just kind of accepting it.
A lot of the really good villains are. Well, there's the psycho villains. We talk about the Joker, or we talk about we were talking about Mr. Zsasz. We'll get into that. They're just batshit crazy, I believe, is batshit.
Yeah, sure.
But then, there's the ego trip guys, and I think that those are what show up. Sinestro, Dr. Doom is one. The Red Skull is one. Lex Luthor. Yep. It's spurned ego gone wild.
Yep.
It's, like
world or universe domination. I should be in charge.
But it really has to do. I mean, like
the vulture.
Yeah, well, it's an insecurity though. I mean, Lex Luthor is all about. It's really all about insecurity.
Yep.
Yeah.
He so needs to be the best at everything. He is. He's second best.
Yep.
He's the smartest guy there is, and he cannot get over and accept the fact that there's somebody better than him, and that drives him nuts.
Yep.
And so
that's way more interesting than just I need cash.
You're right. Yeah. Then the Sandman who needs to pay his bills and.
Oh, Sandman's a great classic villain. It's like when he shows up, I don't go, oh shit, the Sandman.
Right. Yeah.
Like, oh, yeah, cool Sandman.
Yeah.
But like when Joker shows up or Red Skull shows up, you go, oh shit, the Red Skull. There's a difference. There's a level between the really scary good villains and just the classic, but they're not as scary. Like for me, there's a level of terror when you see them. Something bad's going to happen. They're capable of really bad evil. And, they're really capable of hurting the hero, whereas guys show up, they're not going to hurt the hero.
Right.
The Riddler's not going to hurt Batman.
Yeah, I mean, when the smoke clears and Kang is standing at the end of the room, and the Avengers are, it's like, oh shit, it's Kang, versus just, dealing with, the Batroc the Leaper.
Right.
So.
Well, we may love Batroc the Leaper.
Right. He's small potato.
Do you think that there are too many really strong villains?
By power level?
Well, when I think about it, if these guys get their shit together even just a little bit, there's really no way. I mean, when you take Kang, Ultron,
that was
the later Kang Immortus, you put them all together.
That was the premise of Wanted. I mean, even they said that was that we organized.
The premise of Final Crisis, the premise of Identity Crisis, the premise of New Avengers. I mean, they're playing with that, but the point is that those guys can't work together. That's why they're bad.
There's always the tentative agreement, like don't screw me. No, we're in this. I'm not going to screw you, and then he screws them, and then it's just because it always happens because by nature they're looking for that
they're
personal.
Selfish.
They're looking for themselves.
That's something that's happening when you looked at what Brian Bendis did with the Hood.
Yeah.
He's like, listen, I'm going to make this work out for you. We've got to do it this way. Right. And
it's almost like what's going on with Final Crisis with Libra.
It feels to me like a lot of times the villain characters are a lot more powerful. Like if you think there's a lot more of those, like Galactus.
Who beats
Galactus?
But hang on, you got to accept Galactus at the cosmic level. Yeah, Reed. The cosmic level. There again, back to what I was saying. Galactus, not evil.
He's just hungry.
Exactly. He's a celestial being, and
he's
I
not
eat
trying
planets.
to kill people. He just needs food.
And maybe his shortcoming is he doesn't really listen. When they're like, hey, don't eat us, and he's just like, what is that?
You know what it is? It's like you eat food. There's bacteria in the food. It's not all harmful to you, but it's in there.
Yeah,
you're eating it.
Galactus is not in the.
I do not have a giant hat.
Right, yeah, exactly.
That's true.
If you had one like that, you'd wear it.
Thanos, evil.
Yeah.
Well,
power hungry, wants to rule the universe, evil. I think it's interesting when you look at the motivations and look at what they're doing. It comes back to the difference between evil or misunderstood or not acceptable by our societal standards.
Yeah. Well, and then there's the sort of the middle ground guys, and they make really good stories. When you take a guy like you were talking about Magneto.
Yeah.
Now Magneto, he's been done all sorts of ways over the years.
Yeah.
From just evil guy, Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. It's right there. It's in the title. But then, like when you look at how he was done in, say, the X-Men movie, which is, I think he's been like this in some comic books. He's a nationalist. Well, not even, or a speciesist.
Some sort of political kind of bent to it where I'm protecting my species. Yeah, no. And it's interesting. I mean, that's a step away from Magneto. If you look at the X-Men, if you take away Magneto, X-Men severely lacking of villains. Yeah. They've got a bunch of, Sauron every now and then, misunderstood, Mr. Sinister was kind of, but it was never really, and as of where we are right now...
Sabretooth.
He's dead.
Okay.
Yeah, Juggernaut is reformed. Like, the X-Men just keep reforming him.
Yeah, or Emma Frost.
Exactly, which is weird. So
the Hellfire Club.
Shaw I still think is out there. But even then, Shaw isn't evil. Mm-hmm. Shaw is just, he's manipulating and power hungry, Sebastian Shaw.
Well, then the question is, are the X-Men good?
There's the question.
I mean, and there's questions about that.
But back to the Magneto point.
There's a certain evilness in manipulation, being power hungry. There's a certain amount of evil in that because you have to step on other people's.
So then, what we were talking about the Sandman, or there's Magneto, and there's nice gray area about that. But they're not. But because of that, they're not scary. For example, Catwoman is a villain, or historically was. She's not anymore. They've sort of changed that all around, but. Yeah. She wasn't scary.
In like 10 years.
You weren't worried about when she showed up because.
Exactly. But what's interesting, and I would say in the same category in that middle ground, I would put Bullseye in. Even though he is
a murderer.
he's batshit crazy murderer, and he's got this personal connection to Daredevil, but he's a mercenary. You hire him, he'll kill
That's
somebody.
still murder.
No, he's a bad dude.
No, he's a bad dude, but I'm saying he's not, aside from the Daredevil connection, there was a time where Bullseye was a random dude that showed up and did shit and stuff like that freaked you out because of what he did, but he wasn't of the Dr. Doom level.
No, but
you don't have to be a Dr. Doom level to be evil, though.
No, he is, though.
Right.
Because it got ahead of him.
Yeah.
He is in the same way that Lex Luthor is. Lex Luthor is consumed with Superman, and because of that, nothing else is important to Lex Luthor. The only thing that matters is that he bests Superman, and everything else is collateral damage to that. Bullseye's the same way.
Right.
I remember when I first read Kevin Smith's take on Bullseye was the first time I was like, oh, he's a very, very bad dude. And
if I came in one day and said, guys, I need to supplement my income, and I've started to kill people for money, you guys might have a little conference and go, Connor went evil.
Yeah.
It's not like a good thing. Just because he does it because it's his job, it doesn't make him any less evil. It's just murderer.
Well, this is getting into the definition of evil.
You don't think that the mob are really bad guys. That's what just happened.
Well,
I see what's happening.
That's what they never understood. It was just like it was a police force for wise guys.
I have a theory that I want to share.
When you couldn't go to the police.
I know. That's what no one understood.
We're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, Josh, Sarah's theory, we'll talk about our favorite villains.
iFanboy would like to thank Squarespace.com for sponsoring this episode. If you ever wanted to build a complex high-end website but you don't know a thing about coding, Squarespace has the tools for you. You can build websites with high-end functionality and all sorts of complex stuff on them using their tools. Whether you have a large, powerful business or you just want to build a real nice blog, Squarespace has got what you need. They give everyone the opportunity to build pages that are just as powerful and flexible as those of the big dog. Keep an eye out for some pages that Squarespace is going to be building for us. GoDaddy.com, thanks for sponsoring this episode. Web hosting from GoDaddy.com includes 99.9% uptime, 24/7 support, and free access to Hosting Connection, the place to install over 30 free applications, sir, to help you get the most from your hosting plan and website. If you want to make an impact online, GoDaddy.com has what you need. .com names as low as $1.99, world-class hosting, fast and easy website builders, and much more. Looking to drive viewers to your video content? Then get a .tv domain name and stand out from the crowd. TV domains are perfect for podcasters, video bloggers, or anyone with something to say, and they're available now at GoDaddy.com. And let us not forget Netflix for the movie lover in your heart. With over 90,000 titles, fast free shipping, and a wonderful queue system, Netflix is the place that you want to be for DVDs. If you'd like to get a free 2-week trial, go to www.netflix.com/iFanboy and sign yourself up today.
What the Flash has is that the Flash, more so, like DC heroes are connected to their cities and stuff like that. Batman Gotham is the obvious one. After Batman and Gotham, Flash and Keystone or Central, depending on which Flash, is one of the main things, and it's more like Flash and the city versus the people who are terrorizing the city.
Right.
So, and the fact that those rogues, self-identify as rogues and kind of play poker, go to strip clubs.
One of the first teamings. We're going to be a team to fight this hero because we can't do it alone.
Yeah. So Captain Boomerang and Captain Cold and all that, or just Boomerang. What was his name? Captain Boomerang. A lot of captains in the Flash Rogues Gallery. A lot of rankings and stuff. But I really like those because they're not. I don't think they're of that evil grouping. I think they're those guys who are just Captain Cold. Len Snart just has I got this cold gun and I'm going to go get some money.
That's evil though.
No, I know, but
that is evil.
But it's not.
If you choose to do bad, that's evil.
But you're taking something that belongs to someone else.
Right, no, but that's not. But there's a difference between the Red Skull evil, which is Nazi supremacy taking over the world.
It's still all bad.
Yeah, but
it's not like you'd ever confuse the Rogues Gallery with being good guys.
Yeah, well. No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. There's a difference. I'm just saying there's a difference between pure, cold-hearted hellfire evil.
Well, the question for Captain Cold would be: so what if?
Wrong decisions.
What if a single mom in a minivan is standing between him and the money? Does he opt to save that mom, or does he opt to kill her in order to get to the money more quickly?
Kills her to get to the money.
Well, not necessarily. That's where a good story is. I don't know. You don't know.
I'm asking about that.
There's no question. That's what they do.
Well, but not all of them. I don't think all of them. I think what you do is with the heroes that aren't the pure evil. Red Skull just takes what he wants and does what he needs to because he's evil. But with those other side of the guys, you get that momentary pause. You get those character introspection where they weigh and try to. Sometimes they're trying to do it to get out of doing Daredevil. What Bendis and Brubaker have been doing. Daredevil's looking at some of those stupid level, like Gladiator, like guy with the spinning blades and stuff like that. And sometimes they're just guys who.
He was like borderline retarded.
Yeah,
and that's why he was acting
exactly.
Like that.
Yeah. So I mean, I think those kind of.
So the question is it mental illness or is it megalomaniacal, tendencies?
Who are your favorite villains?
Evil.
I bet I know.
All evil.
Yeah.
Well, I think Joker's the best villain in all of comics.
No, I think you're right.
Yeah, Joker totally. I mean, he is the one that they're all compared to.
Because what the Joker is is abject fear and terror. Things that are really scary to me are things that cannot be beaten by reason.
Yeah.
And the Joker cannot be beaten by reason. There is
Right.
no choice for the Joker but to kill him. That's the only thing that will stop him.
Yeah.
He will never
Yep.
give up.
Everyone else can be reasoned with.
Yeah.
Beyond Galactus, who can't hear
Right.
us. But like, you know, you could even reason with the Red Skull. You could show him how killing you is not in his best interest.
Yeah.
The Joker will kill you,
Yeah.
no matter what you say to him. So that is for me the most terrifying thing about.
And the more it sort of goes on with the Joker over time, like they keep finding new horrible things to have him do. And I think for a while the Joker showed up too much, and then later they toned him down so that when he did show up, it mattered, it meant something. When they realized that, well, people aren't really freaked out by this Bane character as much as we'd hoped. Thank you. So then it's true though. Like for me, there's nothing scarier than the Joker. And the other thing that's, again, to make him an amalgam to Batman is that he doesn't have any powers.
Yeah.
He's just scary because of the fact that his
This will
mind
go the
is,
distance.
He will do anything.
Yeah.
right, because his mind is messed up.
Yeah.
And that's scarier than anything. I mean, that's scarier than Thanos or whoever.
He's like, you know, everyone's terror, like the horror movies that, you know,
Yeah.
Michael Myers.
Yeah.
Who is he but really the Joker?
Freaky,
because he
soft
just comes in and kills you, and there's no reason or why he doesn't do it. Just
and
does-
there's
does
no
what he
reason,
does.
and that really gets
That's
to
the thing
people.
that terrifies people is there's no reason for something to happen.
Right.
The Joker is a walking no reason. He just kills for no reason and does things for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
Some people say that. You know, I had a professor in college who said villains who had no reason behind them were boring, and I was like, you're insane.
Well, the question is he evil by his own perspective then? Like he's evil by our perspective, but he's just doing what comes in. He's not
Right.
thinking this is bad and this is why I'm going to do
Well, that's
it.
the societal norm type thing, and that's where
he's insane.
I mean,
Well, obviously, right.
People who are insane don't normally know they're insane.
How do you know
Well, but
he's
that's-
not insane? Everyone else is insane, and he's the sane one.
It may be that.
Well, I mean, then
Maybe
your
you just blew
mind.
my
Well,
mind.
obviously, Batman doesn't think that he's purely evil because he lets him live because he gives him it's his
No, he
sanity.
thinks but Batman's morality, he can't kill.
Well, because he
no matter
won't.
what.
Yeah, I mean
Right.
that's why it goes back to Daredevil and Bullseye, which is the great Frank Miller scene with the they're going back and forth and all stuff, and Bullseye's laid up in the hospital, and Daredevil comes and he's got a gun, and Daredevil can't do it because he won't cross the line. That's the difference between
How
him and
come they
Bullseye.
never put? But the reason they've never put Joker to death. I don't know if there's no death penalty in the DCU,
Right.
but it's because he's insane. So it's not his fault.
Right? Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
I guess
yeah.
theoretically, which is scary.
Yeah.
He's actually very scary. I mean, I think I would agree with the Joker. This brings me to sort of the thought I was having is that while for me I tend to prefer Marvel superheroes. I guess I like their heroes more because they're more nuanced at times. I know that's like generalizations we don't need to make, but for me, DC villains are better than the Marvel villains. Like when you think about it, you've got the Joker, you've got Lex Luthor, and they're both humans. I should note, and you've got like those kind of Darkseid. Darkseid, which is not human, is a scary because again, there's no reasoning with Darkseid. He's got a shit ton of power.
Right, well, he's on the cosmic level, so yeah.
Right, but
I mean, cosmic level, I
Yeah.
put on another shelf. Yeah.
right, but
But I mean,
he's a great villain.
beyond Luthor and the Joker,
Two-Face,
Two-Face,
Deathstroke the
Two-Face is good.
Terminator,
Deathstroke.
it's tough.
the
It's
Rogues,
something.
the Rogues Gallery.
This is turning into a DC Marvel thing, which I don't want
Brainiac.
it to, because I think for every DC villain there is an amalgam on the Marvel side that
Sure,
that,
but I mean, maybe I
amalgam.
just mean in reading them. Well, one of the reasons that I
Yes,
say
know,
that,
so I think no.
one of the reasons that I say this is that a lot of the, like say the Justice League 7 or whatever, they're light. Really, they stand for good. They're just sort of shining beacons of hope.
Right.
And by making their villains all the more scary, that contrast is really nice.
Well, yeah,
Whereas
that's
in,
DC, yeah.
Right,
And that's the difference between the two companies. Is
maybe
that, is
that's
that,
more one of. I
is
mean,
that
it's
there's
possible.
there's more you could question in Marvel where Wolverine who kills,
Right.
That's
There's not a lot of DC heroes, I guess, who like Wolverine.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Jason Todd would be the only.
Yeah.
Yeah, but does he consider a hero, or is he just like a rogue
Yeah,
dude?
he's considered a hero. Yeah.
Okay,
Like
Fine.
Wolverine is. Yeah.
Really?
He's not Wolverine.
He starred the. He
Nobody
starred
likes
the
him.
books.
But you like Wolverine. You don't like Jason
Right?
Todd.
Yeah, exactly.
No, lots of people who never read comics in the 80s when he was Robin love him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, weird.
People
What?
just know of him now.
Well, what? I mean, I can't because I can't think of any Marvel villains like that. I mean, the Red
what?
Skull to me is the best example. Again, he's a human.
Like what?
Just pure evil, bad, scary dudes. Like it seems to me like there's a lot of the Marvel villains. Sometimes the Marvel villains are a little corny.
Well,
I mean,
yeah, well,
even
yeah.
Doctor Doom.
There's a lot more megalomaniacal Marvel villains, not really very
Right.
many psychotic,
Right.
crazy
Purple
forces
Man.
of nature.
The Purple Man. Well, this is something I was going to bring up. Purple Man to me is a really good example of something Brian Bendis has done in Marvel. Purple Man is just a guy scary as hell.
Yep.
I mean,
But not before that.
not before that. They went and they took it and they said, well, look at what he can actually do and how would this work in real life. And in Alias, this is what I'm talking about, the Purple Man, who was a joke before that, just like Stiltman was a joke.
Yep.
The Purple Man's genuinely scary. I mean, he really messes her up.
Have we seen him since then?
I don't believe so.
No, yes, he was on the raft when he's out.
Right, but we
haven't seen him since
like,
he's a couple years ago.
we haven't seen him.
Mastermind on the X-Men side, which I think has been an underused villain, has that evil because what he's doing is he's dropping those illusions and he really tends to screw with people. And
he got messed up in Dark Phoenix, though.
Yeah, he got messed up, but he came back over the years. I mean, he got unmessed up because that's what happens in
Right.
comics. But if you look at if you forget about the Phoenix stuff and look at what he did in that and leading up to it, it was some pretty sick stuff.
It's funny though to think that the heroes in DC are more analogous to the villains in Marvel, and that they're louder, more bombastic. The villains tend to wear capes.
Yeah.
They're sort of like, boom, I'm the villain.
Right.
We're like, boom, I'm the hero in DC. Whereas the Marvel heroes are grittier and real. These are all generalizations. Whereas the DC villains are grittier and street leveler.
These change as you go through time. I mean, this is what they're like right now.
Yeah,
I suppose like they've done a lot of good work. Red Skull's a great one.
Red Skull's great. Yeah.
Red Skull's
He's
made to be
one of my
very
favorite
scary,
villains,
and he's got the Cosmic Cube, so that really messed up dude plus the Cosmic Cube.
Well, and the Nazis are always. I mean, comics are built off of the hatred of Nazis. So
thank God for Nazis in comics anyway. That's horrible. But you know what I'm getting at.
No, but all the creators too. That's what they,
Do you know who are scary? The Viltrumites. From Invincible.
Invisible.
Yeah.
Wow, that was some.
I was just like,
But to talk about Marvel and DC, that's not the only ones. The Viltrumites are scary.
Yeah.
They are they're all Superman.
Yep.
And they go to take over the world and they think they're doing the right thing.
yeah,
That's bad.
that's some scary stuff.
That's some bad stuff.
why do
they have
people
mustaches.
like villains so much? I mean, people love to root for the bad guy.
Because it's doing what you never can do. It's the ultimate fantasy type thing. It's just like, oh look, he screwed that guy up. I wish I could do that to.
You think people don't root for the villains though, do they?
I don't think root for
some
them.
people
I think people like
people like the more screwed up things, the better.
I know, but I think that they also like to see the vanquishing of that. Like I think that
Kingpin, not evil, just a businessman.
no,
He
he's
is evil.
He's
He has
very
people
evil.
murdered.
Just a businessman.
However, he does have that other side where he was in love with his wife, and that's.
Yes.
I mean,
Well, no one beyond the Joker is like pure evil.
Right, well-
everyone, even Hitler.
the Red Skull. The Red Skull's
Red
that
Skull,
evil
yeah, but
because like he.
But I'm sure there's something he
Skull's
does
that
that's
evil.
not
No,
evil.
Red Skull. There's nothing
Yeah.
Red
He
Skull does that's
spend
not
every
evil.
moment of the day kicking puppies.
Red
and
Skull. Red
think he
Skull
does.
shops for clothes. Evil. He goes to he goes to evil movies. I'm telling you, he watches evil TV. He goes for evil walks.
What about when he's just trying to balance the budget in the spreadsheet?
It's an evil budget. Because it's
Someone
all
else does
stolen.
that.
It's all.
Someone else does that.
He plays evil solitaire.
Rolls his sleeves up, loosens the
Middle
tie.
management. Yeah, he's an evil manager. That's what it is. Red Skull is the definition of evil, as far as I'm concerned.
It's just there's not a lot of pure evil in Marvel.
There's not as much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
Because
really do have.
Marvel is the gray area. I mean, like that's. I mean, they or the more
No, because
realistic.
the villains are more goofy.
Yeah.
Going
They're
forward, I think a lot of those villains didn't hold up as well, or at
And
least
his
weren't.
stories from the '60s didn't hold up.
Yeah, they weren't adjusted properly, which is starting to happen now. I mean, when you look at the stuff that's happening, the Purple Man's a good example.
Bendis and Brubaker pretty much on their own are revamping all the villains.
Yeah.
Before those two guys, they still were kind of goofy.
Like they would show up and you'd be like, "Cape, Mole Man, look at your glasses."
I love Mole Man.
I know, but he's goofy.
yeah,
but that's
yeah.
why you like him. It's almost campy.
Yeah.
And
Marvel villains are like the Batman TV show.
DC was ahead
Not
of
always,
that.
but sometimes. Yeah.
I think in making their villains scary. When you look at Identity Crisis or something like
Dr.
that,
Light,
like.
yeah.
Anyway, we could go on and on about
We
this for
certainly
hours. But if you want to weigh in on the debate, you can email us at contact@ifanboy.com.
You could call the voicemail and leave a sinister message as long as it's less than 30 seconds at 888-FANBOYS, which is 326-2697.
And you can go to ifanboy.com. There'll be a post about this show. You can talk about who your favorite villains are and why. And you can also check out our weekly audio show, talk about the new books of the week. And you go to revision3.com/ifanboy, and you can see a post about this thread and on the forums, talk about all the stuff there.
Richards!
You know who doesn't have any very good villains?
No.
The Hulk.
Because he basically is a bad guy.
He's his own villain.
Yeah.
Like the leader.
The monster inside.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like Hulk poodles.
Sinestro. We didn't talk about Sinestro.
Oh, we brought him up
my
early.
God.
Yeah, but like in any kind
Yeah.
of...
Yeah.
That's a good one.